You feel it, don't you? That quiet resentment, the simmering frustration, a deep, heavy fatigue that doesn't go away with a full night's sleep. You might call it burnout, but Friedrich Nietzsche identifies this exhaustion as the psychological cost of living out of alignment with your instincts. It is the drain of constantly performing a version of yourself that doesn't actually exist. We tend to look for weakness in the wrong places. We think it's crying too much, or lacking discipline, or being physically small. These are surface-level traits that have nothing to do with the actual source of the rot. Real weakness is emotional submission, the desperate habit of seeking external permission from people who don't even understand themselves. It is the act of relabeling your fear as humility or your laziness as self-care, just to avoid the judgment of the group. We repeat these narratives, the apologies, the hesitations, the passivity, until we mistake them for our personality. We convince ourselves that these protective layers are who we are, rather than seeing them as defenses built to hide the person underneath. This softening is intentional. Your education, media, and culture are engineered to prioritize predictability. The system functions best when you are agreeable and obedient. Even your closest circles reward this passivity. They praise your restraint because a domesticated person is predictable and safe. We participate in this domestication because the alternative is terrifying. We sign a hidden psychological contract to stay small and dim our own light, solely to avoid the primal fear of being cast out. But the safety of belonging comes at a high price. You trade your authenticity for a passive, dead inclusion, a state where you are tolerated by the tribe only because you have successfully neutered your own potential. This process isn't abstract, it's maintained through micro-habits. Your domestication is reinforced every single day through subtle, unquestioned routines that slowly erode your willpower. It starts when you wake up, checking a glowing screen, surrendering to an algorithm, becoming a reactionary consumer, losing the muscle of sovereignty before the day has even begun. You can see the leakage in your posture and your language. You speak softly so others won't feel threatened. You say, "I don't know," when you have a clear opinion. You apologize for your presence. Each of these small surrenders invites the world to underestimate you. Nietzsche proposes a state of emotional command. This is a specific discipline where you feel the full intensity of an insult or a setback, yet remain the sole author of your response. When you possess this command, you don't react to disrespect with an explosion or a defense. You wait, you stare, and when you finally move, it is with a calculated, surgical exactness that forces the world to adjust to you. Nietzsche's philosophy, particularly in Also sprach Zarathustra, is a mandate for the individual to resist being psychologically overwhelmed by the tribe. He demands that you remain dangerous, not through violence, but through a refusal to be neutered by social demand. This requires shedding your domesticated skin. You must become someone who doesn't beg for a seat at the table, but instead builds their own. You have to unlearn the addiction to being liked and embrace the clarity that only comes through solitude. Part of that process means rejecting the modern glorification of suffering. Nietzsche viewed victimhood as a form of psychological slavery, a trap where you weaponize your pain to get sympathy and use your trauma to justify stagnation. The only valid path forward is to refine your past experiences into leverage. No one is coming to save you, and the world does not care what you survived. It only cares what you have become in spite of it. Purpose is not found, it is chosen. You decide what you will protect and what you will no longer tolerate. When you have a firm why to live for, the noise of drama and distraction begins to dissolve. This creates a new kind of presence, a grounded, unapologetic way of moving through the world. You protect your energy like a sovereign, saying no with your chest and speaking only with clarity and force. Now that the mechanics of your domestication are visible, the routines, the language, and the fear of the tribe, they lose their status as natural laws. You are now left with a decision. You either begin the work of dismantling these habits, or you choose to continue operating within a system you now recognize as a trap. This sovereign presence is your new standard. Guard it fiercely. You are returning to the version of yourself that was always there, buried under layers of societal training, waiting for the exact moment you finally start.